Hi, it's great to be here. It just feels like coming back home. I wasn't raised in this church, but I came to this church during a really difficult time in my life, and this church ministered to me and helped me really fulfill the mission that God had called me to. So I'm grateful to be here. I happen to be back here because of my 50th class reunion. Now, when you get an invitation in the mail for your 50th class reunion, it sure took me by surprise. And so I saw a lot of old people last night. But I got here on Thursday, and I got to go home on Tuesday. And I live in South Texas now. There's information about me in the bulletin. I won't bore you with the details. But my mother lives with me. My father died in October. That was the reason I came back from Honduras in 2007 to help care for my parents. And now my mother's 87, and she lives with me, so it's hard for me to be away from home for very long. So my brother and family came to stay with my mom, but they have to get back to work, so I've got to go back to Texas. When I was in Honduras, when I went there, I didn't know any Spanish, and I don't recommend that at 48, trying to learn Spanish, but I worked hard, and the last 6 years I was there, I lived with our Spanish teacher, and she didn't speak any English, but she taught in all the embassies and really knew Spanish well, and I got corrected 24 hours a day, so I learned Spanish pretty well. So when I came back to the U.S., I now work with Hispanic Ministries and a mobile theological training program in Spanish and English. That program has just celebrated 10-year anniversary, and we have about 150 sites throughout the United States, and I help administrate that. And I work from my home office. I used to have to go to Minneapolis once a month, but because of my mother's needs, I don't travel like that anymore, and I'm not sad that I don't have to go to Minneapolis in January. So it works out for me really well. It was 104 the day before I got here, so you can see I'm dressed for winter because I've been cold ever since I got here. We have a new training program that I want to tell you about too. It's called Gateway Instituto Bíblico, which means Gateway Bible Institute, and it's for Hispanic or Spanish-speaking pastors to use with their Spanish-speaking congregation. It's biblical studies. And, in English, we have all kinds of resources. And there are resources in Spanish, too, but these just happen to be resources that work really well for our Hispanic churches and our Hispanic pastors to use with their congregations. So that just started this last year, and we already have 4 different locations we're doing that in. So that really keeps me pretty busy. I wanted to just give you an update on my family. As I said, my mother still lives with me. My daughter and her husband, my daughter Ellen and her husband Jeff and their son Ian used to go to church here when they lived here in Edgerton, and they've had another son since then. They live in Clinton, and Ian's now 24 and Trent is 18, so it's just hard to believe. So I get to spend some time with them this week. And my son retired, Patrick retired out of the Army. He was in the military 24 years and retired as a sergeant major, and I give thanks to God that he's safe and that he's out of harm's way. And he lives in Dallas now, and people say, oh, you're so lucky he lives in Texas. You must see him a lot. And it's 600 miles away from where I live. So I am grateful. I do get to see them more than what I did, but I'm grateful. But I want to give praise to God for this church and the way you ministered to me, the way I see you ministering to others, for your support of missions and ministry here in your own community throughout the United States and throughout the world. I'm really grateful, and I see God using you, and I'm really excited about what he's going to do in the future with this new building and all the new faces I see. So thank you very much.